916, 916, 916, 916. I think for most of us, these, what will I call this? The axle, the pedal axle, will be 9/16 of an inch. I think you can also take for granted that the thread will be 20 TPI, 20 threads per inch. I asked Google Gemini what percent are 9/16 of an inch pedals. They said you can't really give an estimate, but it is by far the most common, and it would maybe be 85% of bikes, and the other ones is maybe, the only other size really is half an inch, which is 8/16. So why didn't they all pick 8/16? But never mind, half an inch, and it says that's probably for cheaper bikes and maybe kids' bikes, and it says ones that have got one-piece cranks, whereas this one's a two-piece crankset. This is a Holotech 2, and typical cranksets are three-piece, I think. That's the square taper type. So 2 or 3 is probably 9/16 of an inch. A very catchy measurement. I prefer metric systems, so it's about 14.3 millimetres, and I'm guessing they'll refer to it as 14 millimetres. But really everybody's calling it 9/16, you know, and I don't blame them really, even I'm calling it that. I mean, who chose 9/16 of an inch? But I suppose you'll remember it. But in a way this video is defunct really, because almost all of these will be the same size of pedal anyway, so it doesn't matter what pedal you buy, it'll probably fit, you know, except if you get one of those half-inch ones, which apparently Google Gemini says maybe cheap bikes or kids' bikes or one-piece cranksets. I don't understand one-piece cranksets. How did they get them off, you know? And remember folks, a left pedal is for the left side. You can't put this on the right side, because the threads go the opposite way. Am I doing this right? Yeah. I'll get it in a minute. Because the threads go the opposite way to each other. Here I'm listening it. This is the right one. It'll say on it somewhere, right, left, so that you know what's what, because you can't swap them around. This one, the thread's normal, so to tighten it you go clockwise. This one, the thread is the opposite, so to tighten it you go anti-clockwise, which is the opposite you'll be used to. And the reason is simple, because they don't want the left one becoming loose as you pedal, because when you'd be pedaling the direction would be the same as the thread, so you might loosen it as you're pedaling. So to deal with that, they come up with a great idea of making that anti-clockwise to tighten, and so it is. So it's all about 9/16, and this is the right one, so the thread's going the normal way that we're used to. This is what I've got info. 20 TPI, this is thread per inch. This is the amount of threads there per inch. And I think this is pretty standard as well. You can take that for granted, I think, probably even on the half-inch pedals. And I think most people have got these that are the 9/16 of an inch pedals. They're very catchy measurement. I think you can take that for granted. Don't quote me on that, of course, as usual. And left, you tighten anti-clockwise, and right, you tighten in the normal way. So you can't swap a left and right pedal round. I was trying to think what this would be called. I'll call it the spindle diameter, or the axle diameter, pedal axle diameter. Maybe nobody knows, you know, because I was looking on Google Gemini, I asked it. I'm going by axle diameter. 85% of bikes. I mean, Gemini said it wouldn't give me an estimate, but then it did, roughly. And it says it's probably going to come more as people buy group sets or something like that, I don't know. And this seems to be the only competitor. Half an inch, I mean, could you even tell the size? I don't know. It says maybe sometimes kid bikes or cheap bikes, one piece cranksets, which is beyond me. I even wonder if bike shop workers know what the name of this thing is. Probably you would refer it to as the pedal thing. The pedal thing, me. And officially it's like 14.29mm. I don't know if the websites will refer to it as 14mm, because that sounds more like half an inch, doesn't it really? But yeah, I don't know. But I think everybody's still calling it 9/16 of an inch. I mean, me, I would abolish the imperial measurement system, but apart from 9/16, because my head just can't get around that, it's too much for me. And that's really all the information I got on this. So hopefully you'll not really need this video, because you'll buy pedals and they'll just fit really, which is very unusual for bike parts. Usually there's all sorts of different sizes going about for parts, so it's any time you get them all agreeing on something, you've got to rejoice. You think the bicycle world union or something would make them all have the same things for bikes, but no, most of them will get their proprietary sizes and stuff for things. So anytime you get something being agreed on, 9/16 of an inch for pedals, probably any pedal you buy it'll probably fit. Apart from if you get a one-piece crankset, I don't know how you would tell that, but most of us have got two or three. I think most people have got a three-piece with the square taper type. This is a Holotech type 2 type of Shimano. There's no gap there. So yeah, most of us 9/16 of an inch. We'll just have one final chanting session. 9/16, 9/16, 9/16. Sometimes half. I mean, half would have been better, wouldn't it? In terms of understanding. 9/16 is quite a long thing to say. But hopefully it doesn't matter anyway, because you can buy any pedals. You don't need to return them. Hopefully. Okay.